I see you, Beowulf. I appreciate that, man. What is up, everybody? Welcome to yet again another episode of the Comfort in Chaos podcast. Broadcasted, coming to you live, uncut, raw, unedited, unfiltered. So hold the complaints, and if you have a complaint, comment down below. Feel free. Jump in the chat, guys. It's interactive. Please, by all means, participate. And if you're new, welcome to the team. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and join the Comfort and Chaos squad as we continue to engage in lifetime topics, variety of the world, and how we embrace the chaos of our daily lives, guys, in every facet and every way. So thank you, guys. And I got a special guest today. You guys, I look forward to this. We're going to have some good conversation, discuss some good topics. And it's going to be a good time, team. So thank you all for tuning in. As you know, there's power in presence, guys, and I appreciate you guys for being present. And what do you say we get on with the show, team? Let's do this. I see you guys. Hey, thank you. Hey, appreciate you guys on the Twitch side. I see you as well. Thank you guys so much. I hope you guys are having a great week. Let's get the show on the road, team. All right. Welcome to yet again, guys, another episode of the Comfort and Chaos podcast, coming to you with a special guest host today, guys, in which we're going to introduce him here in a bit. But as you know, we like to carry on and start the episode with our normal way of operating, guys. So thank you guys for tuning in. As you know, team, those of you who are tuning into or are brand new, hey, this is a live broadcast. So, hey, I do monitor the chat lines, both on the Twitch side and both on the YouTube side. So, guys, feel free to interact and engage. And if you got any questions, or even if you have some questions for my special guest here, by all means, come up on the net, team. We're all here to learn from each other, all right? Okay, team. So, hey, as you know, it was a great weekend. You know, I had a great spring break. I'll give you guys a little recap. You know, my son came up and spent the week, took some time off from work, and just spent the week just basically being a father, you know. And those of you who tuned in, he wanted to do a podcast. So we did a little short podcast, and I know some of you guys got to see that. And if you haven't seen it, the episode's posted on under the podcast tab on the YouTube as well. But it was really good. It was a different experience, you know, but it was cool to hear the mind of an 11-year-old, you know. So it was, as a father, it was one of those things that I really felt really good doing, you know. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and go onward, guys. As you know, we got to do our quick PCCs, PCIs. We got our comms line already here. You already know we got the Comfort and Chaos tea, as you know. And, of course, we got our chinos to keep us going. And the most importantly, we got our Discipline Bible right here. All right, for our discipline devotional. And nothing's going to change. You know, we're still going to do our little devotionals. We start an episode. And now we even have a special guest. You're probably way into this, you know. And then I'll let him introduce himself here in a bit. But let's go ahead and get on with the episode, team. Time is precious. Remember that, guys. Time is precious. Okay, so I particularly picked this one because I feel like this is something that, as you know, we all can relate to. All right. This one out of the Discipline Equals Freedom Field Manual, guys, is titled The Darkness. All right. The darkness. The sun doesn't shine every day. The storms will come. There are times when the nights will be long and the dark and you will be alone. There will be times when the darkness seems to consume everything, but don't let it consume you. Don't let it consume you. Even in the darkest times, even in the strongest storms, even when the sun is blotted out and the world is falling apart, the darkness cannot extinguish your light. You, your will, your determination. No matter what is happening, no matter how hard the fight is, as long as you keep fighting, you win. Only surrender is defeat. Only quitting is the end. because the darkness only wins if you let it. Don't let the darkness win. Fight on. And to fight against the darkness is to win. So fight on. It's a real short one, team, but it's very cut and dry and to the point, you know, and that's one thing I really like about this book is it just gives you the meat and potatoes, you know. And my takeaway is I myself, I can easily let you guys know, and my fellow here guest can also relate that you will go through dark times, you know. We all go through them, you know. And the main thing is like that, those two words, fight on, you know. Don't let them consume you. Don't let that storm consume you, because storms are temporary, you know. And like a good mentor and an old former platoon sergeant of mine used to always say, there's no permanent solution to a temporary problem, you know. And that being said, you know, in our past episodes, we discussed this, you know, sometimes people do go through those dark moments and those dark times, and they think they're going to be everlasting. And they start to make these decisions that could end up affecting the livelihood of themselves and then others as well. So we got to keep that in mind, that it is temporary, but don't quit and don't surrender, you know. And like I always tell you guys too, you can't learn from quitting, but you can learn from failure. So don't be afraid to fail. You just continue to fight, continue to go on, continue mission. All right, team. What do you guys think? You guys got that? Sir, yes, sir. Okay, that's all I need to hear. That's all I need to hear. All right, guys, I'm sure you're wondering who this guest here that I have here. You know, I know him by Geraldo, you know, strong name, Geraldo, you know. But just to give you a brief little summary, this is a fellow senior who I operate with on the daily. He is currently acting, he's a first sergeant as well, you know, in which that is going to be a duty position that I will then assume as well for another company. But there's a lot you can learn, you know, from a senior leader in the military, an active father, an active husband. You know, there's so much you can learn because it's a whole different lifestyle, you know. And there's takeaways and comparisons that even apply to you guys. As you know, everything we discuss, there are takeaways that you guys can apply to yourself, you know. But without further ado, let's bring in Geraldo. What's up, brother?
What's up?
What's up, man? So give us a little something about yourself, man. Introduce yourself to the team here.
Well, as most of y'all heard, I'm Geraldo. Most of the time I'm known as Rivera. So, but
there you go.
At the end of the day, I like being known as my first name or
yeah.
my
We always
first
like
letter, so.
hey, when we're at a uniform team, it's relaxed.
Relaxed.
It's
yeah.
relaxed. Okay, we got the hoodies on. We're good.
So I'm a New Yorker. Grew up in New York City back in the day. So it just for me, I guess, came from a I don't want to say a strong, but a tough neighborhood, I guess. Being like the only Hispanic in the projects.
Ooh.
And then I grew up in the beginning it was more of a just all Hispanics, and then I moved to the projects, which ended up being like, hey, there's only like 3 people in there that are Hispanic. So you either got called the white boy or Hispanic unless you said something. But going through all that transitioning and then getting into Army was like where like I learned to like
nice
grow more. So,
and what made you join the Army, if you don't mind me asking? A lot of people always ask that.
So at first it was 9/11 because I was still like I think I was in 7th grade at that time in high school, and I couldn't I saw the whole thing happening, unfortunately, and then walking miles to get home, which took forever. But I think what really like irked me is just I got like an urge to get out of New York and go after adventure, something more. Like I needed people say, hey, I got a life meaning or something that's irking. Well, something decided for me because I was going to school, going to college, was doing everything I needed to do as a kid. But then I was like, hey, I'm like done I'm at my last semester. And I'm like, I just go up to a recruiter and just tell them, hey, I want to join.
You wanted something more.
And then next thing you know, I'm signing paperwork, shipping out in 6 months, and then that was it.
Yeah.
Oh
yeah.
So
no, I definitely can relate. You know, and what's funny too is I feel like a lot of obviously there's generational changes. You know, and in our generation, you know, college was something different. You know, it was like you did that and then what? Like there was always that then what? You know, it was like, man, what am I going to do now? Hey, am I going to do this? Or am I going to go work in the family business? Am I in, like there was a lot of that around me. Damn. And I'm assuming the same for you. You know, it was unless you knew somebody or had a family business or something. Oh. So it was still like, okay. And so then that military calling was just more like, okay, hey, I'm going to take this and I'm going to go do something. Yeah. You know, I'm going to develop a new sense of purpose, you know, and that's obviously it's changed, you know. College now is like, dude, I look at it now and I'm like, man, people are like breezing through college. I was like, dude, I had to go to the libraries. I had to study. Like, it was crazy, you know?
Yeah. Nowadays it's just,
you can do it from your room.
It's quick. It's quick.
So yeah, no, that's pretty cool. And yeah, you know, 9/11 definitely is a huge motivator, especially when you live through it, you know, and those of you who have lived through it know what we're talking about. And some of you, I mean, it's crazy because now we're coming up in a generation of where you're getting soldiers who don't even know what 9/11 was, and you got to literally tell them, you know. So that's pretty crazy, man. But hey, that's pretty good. And thank you for coming. Mm-hmm. Thank you for finally getting him out. Guys, it was hard to get him out here. You know, it's been a rough one, but we finally got it. His people were not working well with my people, but finally they're like, hey, we need a bag. We need this, you know, 50 in cash. Hey, and we'll work out a deal, you know. So now he's finally here, team. So we got him.
I wake up too early and then I go to sleep early. So I crash easy. So I think by this time right now, I'd be sleeping, trying to wake up early.
Jeez. Hey, team, appreciate that. And appreciate him for joining us today. How's that tea?
It's perfect.
All right. That's what I like to hear. All right, man. So currently, what is your duty position now in the Army?
So I'm a first sergeant.
Okay.
Well, they call it death sergeant, but it's first sergeant. And then mainly it's just managing people, personnel, and admin. I think it's changed so much for me to learn that from being a staff sergeant to becoming a sergeant first class and then transitioning. Mm-hmm. Like there's so much in a learning process that you don't really like, they don't give you a, hey, this is exactly what you're doing for your position. So you're learning on the fly, like things like you get experiences from other people that you like your other peers, your other first sergeants that are there to help you. But like those things are their experience, what they're sharing. Yeah. And when you take over that position, you're learning like what your job is. And I think till this day, I don't have 100% clear what I'm doing. It just works.
You're always going to be learning. There's always something to learn.
It's definitely a learning process. But I say like, I think the things that help me be effective in my job is the other people around me. Cause the soldiers that work with me, in the little team aspect that we have, it may be a little like team, but like they do a lot and they help us out. So like, I think if I didn't have that there, I'd be more stressed out than I am at the end of the day. So
yeah, you got to be able to trust your right and left.
Yeah. But also like, cause you have, as a first sergeant, you have like different teams. Like you have your little room team where they're taking care of, you know, you, the administration, and the whole company. Mm-hmm. And then you have your team with your platoon sergeants, your officers, and then you have your team with your sergeant major, and then the other officers that are out there. So like, you have your little teams that you kind of have to like influence and try to do your best with. Mm-hmm. You're not always gonna win their approval for things, but you got to understand where they're coming from, and then kind of have them understand where you're coming from, and then compromise.
Yeah.
And I mean, you know this, like it's just compromising is just. Sometimes it's hard for people. Sometimes it's kind of like, hey, there's no compromise. It's compliance on here and this one. So like it happens, but it is what it is. Like that's how you learn though. Like some things like happen for a reason. Mm-hmm. They give you a learning process. You learn from it. And if you fail, like you said earlier, like you can fail all day as long as you don't quit. As long as you're trying to learn and you continue the process to fight forward, you're not going to fail. Mm-hmm. What you see, what everyone else sees is probably failure. But what you see is challenges to make and improve you. So at the end of the day, they're just challenges. You take your little sledgehammer, you knock down that wall,
there you go,
and you keep moving.
Yeah, there you go. Continue mission.
Yeah.
That's what's up, man. That's what's up. So, and so I'm assuming how many you've deployed, in your career.
Yeah.
What was that like, as far as when you went on, like, if you can go back to your first deployment,
man.
Yeah. From joining to your first deployment.
Let's see if we go back. I guess 2009 was my first start of my deployment in August. And, starting before all that, I was like training my job, retraining my job. When you come out of AIT and you go to your first unit, they tell you, hey, everything you learned, trash it. You're going to learn something new today.
You're going to learn something new.
So like, as I was going through the process, I went through like, 5 different team leaders.
Uh-huh.
And then, and each one had like a different mentality. So like from there, like whoever stuck with me at deployment, which was my good old Staff Sergeant McCormick back in the day, my old team leader. He was my first deployment team leader. And we had kind of like similar personalities, but kind of not at the same time. But he took the time to kind of learn who he had in front of him. And from there, he developed me in deployment. So as a little like collector going to deployment, I didn't know anything. I was excited about it. And you have your peers with you and you're just like, all right, we're going to do this. We're so excited. New place, new era. But in the beginning of doing my my responsibilities and my duties out there, like I was like, man, I don't understand this. So like my first 3 months were rough as a specialist, not knowing like exactly what I'm doing were rough, dude. Like if I didn't go out and do all the things that I did with the infantry and try to learn from my team leader all the time. And he took me to everything. Like he took me to every meeting we had. We went on every key leader engagement. We went on every mission I can jump on basically. Cause he was like, oh, this kid's physical. He's good to go. Yeah. He'll learn something. And I was like, yeah, sure. Okay, let's go for it. Yeah. So from there, I learned to be a better collector in my job. There you go. And from that, like I learned to be more like assertive as like, I learned to be a leader from that. That was my first step into leadership. Just because I learned to lead myself. I learned to allow others to lead me at the same time. And from there, I became better at it where I like when he took leave, I could do my job without having him to be there. I took the meetings that he took over, things like that, like help build me.
So you had that mentor.
So, without me like even asking for it, he just put it out because that's the mentality he had. That old school, the old school way of like, hey, I'm gonna put you in the shit, but not like really like tell you. Yeah. I'm just gonna make you work for it.
I'm gonna guide you, but you're gonna learn along the way.
Pretty much. So that's from that, like I learned a lot, like because we were stuck with an infantry company west of Baghdad in like a farmland area, and like it was just us, a company, the Alpha company, pretty much, and then we had like Iraqi army on the other side of the wall. And so we're stuck in this little Jacob is what they call it, but it was like a little compound, right? So in the middle of nowhere, basically on the west, and we're just trying to build relationships out there, trying to figure out what's going on while getting shot at, getting blown up, whatever, right? There were days where like we didn't really like see as much as like, I guess the south end of Baghdad, right? Because I mean, we're by ourselves, but we got enough to kind of understand what was going on. So like from that, like we had engagements here and there, but like not so aggressive. So I think by the time like the middle of 2010 is when like things got a little bit hectic, like in March, right? Yep. But then as we kept going, we got moved back to like where the battalion was. So we were at the full battalion, but we were still doing missions until the very last month. Cause they were like, on that time period, they were like, okay, we go back to VBC. At that area, we're gonna like drive.
I haven't heard that term in a long time. VBC. Man, before that was like a term you used to know. You used to hear it in conversations. Man, I was at VBC and we went back to VBC. Like that was a thing. Now you just said that and you just said, I was like, dude, it's been years since I heard that. It's been years, yeah. And I used to hear it every day in a conversation.
But that was the thing, man. Like they had everything out there. So like whoever stayed in that big compound, like had everything.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, you had pool, you had everything. And I was learning to be like I gotta say, like, I learned to be a real, I wouldn't say real soldier, but I learned to be a soldier.
Yeah.
Where I was at. Like, I learned what it was to like really like grind in a like small ass tent with like 30 to 45 people in it.
Yep.
And just like breathe the same air we're breathing, mess around with a bunch of like, you know, the little spiders that they had out there that were coming out of nowhere. And then we just cover up everything with like
I got a camel
blanket
story.
yeah. So like those were the times where I learned to like really like, I guess, become a 11 Bravo at the same time, but I wasn't. So I learned to embrace what they had. So during that whole time period, I really like learned to soldier up. Because before that, I was like, okay, well, hey, little MI nerd. You know, I'm a soldier, but I'm a little MI nerd.
Hey, in the end, everyone's an infantryman.
Yeah.
In the end.
So from that, and like for most people, like I've been in MI pretty much my entire career. So most of the things I know is from other folks, like 11 Bravos, like Cav Scouts, 18 Serious fellas.
You were in Cav?
So yeah. Got my spurs for that.
There you go.
So, but yeah, like it was from those people that I learned like a lot, and then I went to Hawaii.
Ooh, nice. That's what's up, man. That's what's up. So let me ask you, man, in all your years, and how many years of service do you have already?
So I'll have 17 coming June.
Wow, guys. 17 years in the military service team.
I'm ready to retire, to be honest.
Let me see, man. That's already a huge accomplishment. Yeah, I don't blame you. But so in your 17 years, let me ask you this. Obviously, we're in a peacetime force, you know. And from hearing you discuss your deployment experiences, it sounds like that kind of forged and enhanced your career expectations, your career goals, and also your capabilities. Now, and I'm assuming the mindset that goes with all that. Now, would you say that would be something that's kind of lacking right now, or what are your thoughts on obviously having to graze that and apply it now on like a peacetime force? You know, so imagine you, that brand new soldier now, you know, where the deployments are kind of at a minimal, if that.
I think it's tough, man. I think peacetime, so everyone's hungry, right? They want adventure. The like back in the day, we were at war effort, right? So we were hungry, ready to go. We already knew what the job was entitling for us, right? We knew what we were going to, what was going to happen. Like we had that mentality, like, okay, we're going to war. This is what's going to happen. Accept the risk. We signed up, right? Now it's kind of like you're because of peacetime is like, I don't know, people have like the older crowd. And what I mean by older crowd, like us that are still in, that been in for a long time, like we have that. And I think we're kind of like brushing out a little bit, but like we still have that war mentality, and we don't know how to like growth mindset ourselves and kind of like adapt to new things. So I think that's one of the struggles that at the senior level we're struggling at, is kind of understanding what is peacetime and how do we operate in it. And then for the soldiers as they're coming in, they don't know what we've gone through before. Yeah. And that same mentality of that war time frame thing. So when we start interacting them, we like straight up like, hey, war mindset, this is what it is, right? Yeah. But then you got a scared,
here's the purpose.
Yeah. Go. But you have a scared little kid, because that's basically what it is. You got a scared little kid.
Yeah.
Who hasn't been like fully trained, like through the responsibility of accepting what's coming forward. Because back then in basic, like, I mean, I feel like it starts at basic where you kind of transform yourself and you go from there. Well, now it's not there. It's when you get to your new unit, because it seems like the new soldier doesn't understand like what like normal, not 10 level tasking, but like normal soldiering stuff.
Yeah, the expectations that are already applied on you.
They don't know that.
They don't. Yeah.
So we're the teaching effort now.
Yeah.
Where, you know, the expected 10 level stuff, they should have learned at least and understood it. And then we take that and we make it better, right? Now what we're taking is, here's a pile of stuff, make it and make it better.
Yeah. Figure it out.
And so the soldiers are confused, right? They don't really know what to expect because I mean, you've seen our workspace, right? Mm-hmm. We're not a normal unit. We're a different unit, different dynamics, right? So in their mind, they're thinking, "Oh, it's gonna be crazy," but then they start seeing it, and then they get too tied into like the normalcy of what we're going through, mm-hmm. and then it gets too relaxed. Then you no longer have the discipline, order, and effect. So that's where you kind of have to balance back the discipline, but without bringing the aggressiveness behind it. Yeah. You got to like slightly tap into it because you don't want the kid to start complaining or crying or something because unfortunately, these soldiers are like, they're breakable. Yeah. They haven't been broken all the way, right? Yeah. They're not going through what we used to went through. We used to get, oh, you're broken. And I feel
like you can even apply that just in society as a whole. Like just our society as a whole is a very breakable society and very easily triggered and very easily, I want to say emotionally reactant rather than logically reactant. Yeah. As opposed to we're trained, when we came up, you're trained to, hey, here's your mission. Mm-hmm. Put emotions aside, go execute, and logically approach. What is the smart way to do this? Go execute. Don't fail. Don't accept defeat. Yeah. And figure it out.
But but I think like society and us right now, like we're dealing with understanding what's in front of us, mm-hmm. and be able to observe and then try to come up with a plan in order to attack it. So like, I think right now we're still trying to struggle with that because we're still like, oh, let's get better at like iPhones and make like greater iPhones. Like, great, let's do a new iPhone every year. And I don't have a hate on iPhones because I own an iPhone myself, but like, I think we're so focused on the little things. Like we don't shoot for like what we used to shoot for back in the day. Like, let's actually race to space and go to the moon, go to Mars. Like we no longer shoot for those ideas.
Yeah, exactly. What is our focal point now?
We don't have that. So it's kind of like, what are we doing? Like really, really look at American society and say, hey, what is it that we're actually doing right now? And like, it stems from a lot of like cultural changes that we've had, like 10-year cultural changes, basically like every 10 years we change that. Right. So until we kind of actually have like an understanding of where we're going forward, I think it's still going to be like that. We're still going to deal with those challenges going ahead. Cause I mean, to my day, I don't know the full solution of handling like even my kids, like for my kids, like I got to do gentle parenting. Like
it's a different style.
Why do I have to do gentle parenting? Why can't I just tell the kid?
That term never existed when I was a kid. Like, I wish I had gentle parenting.
Like my gentle parenting is, okay, you did a good job. Now go fix this stuff.
Yeah, like, I was drinking from the fire hose if I was thirsty. Go play outside. But it's cold outside. Hey, go play outside. Okay, Mom.
Like, and then if you did something wrong, it was kind of like, oh, okay, I said something, whatever, try it. And then come out of nowhere, you got a chancleta or a belt or something. Like my grandfather, because he's in Puerto Rico, right? Before he died, RIP on that one. But he used to chase all the kids with like machetes if you did something wrong. Dang. Yeah, because we lived in the campo, so like in the mountains, like isolated right from the cities, right? And so like if you said something that he didn't like, you knew off the bat he would get up and grab the little machete that he had, like it was like this long or something, then chase you around till you stop running and just be like, okay, cool, whatever, all right. But then like if you did it again, he'd take like a little grass wire or something and then whip you with it real quick, but like not abusive, but just whip you because that was his parenting style. That's how he grew up. Yeah. And so like generations of that until like now, like we've gone from that to like, hey, it's okay. It's all right.
It's okay. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, man. But definitely it, not just a soldier thing. I see it more as a society thing, and the more I interact with my son and hear his stories and everything, I'm just like, dude, yeah, it's different. I engage with his teachers and I engage with just normal people, folks, and the civilians, and you just learn that, wow, dude. I mean, just turning on social media, you're just like, what is this, dude? Like, why are you stressing that? You know, why are you protesting that? Have you even been to that country? Like, what? Wait, what?
Media.
I don't know, man.
Media is crazy, man. I stay out of that. Well, I tell you what, I watch what is put on there.
Just for information purposes, it's always good to have that awareness, you know.
But once you start getting into the weedies of like what it's about,
you can't let it consume you.
Yeah.
You can't let it consume you, man.
Your anger or temper
on top of it
just takes place.
And yeah, we live in what I call a bumper sticker age. You know, you're just going to get bumper stickers, you know, where they're designed to trigger you. They're designed to hit you emotionally, you know, just like you see a bumper sticker on the road. You're just like, wait, what? Who is this dude? Let me pull up and see who's driving this truck. You know, but that's kind of like the time we live in. But yeah, no. So that kind of goes into a good segue now. So you're a very physical guy. You know, I've known you for a long time, and you're very into the physical fitness and the health and wellness of the soldier and of the team and the individuals you are leading. Now, that being said, you know, I came up in the time, I'm pretty sure you came up before me. You have a couple more years in service than I do. But even at my time, when I came in, literally it was like broadcasted to us, hey, be good at PT and you'll see sergeant, you know, be good at PT and you'll see sergeant, you know, be at the right place, right time and do PT and you will see sergeant. You know, you want to see sergeant, you want to be a corporal, hey, be good at PT, you know, PT, you know, apply yourself. And it was very instilled upon us to like, hey, competition is everything. You know, you're competing this. You know, when I first got picked up, I'll never forget when I went to a reception, and you've been to Fort Riley, so you remember down at Main Post, they had that big old reception and everybody's just gaggled there, you know, and you have sponsorship time, like at the end of the day where your sponsors from units can come down and and division, somebody from division is going to be there with a checkboard, be like, hey, sponsors who comes to check on, you know, he's checking you out, make sure your sponsor's there. Now, I remember interacting with my first squad leader. You know, he came down and sponsored us, and he told me, he said, hey, you're going to be the senior scout's new gunner, but you're going to start off as a driver. But I'll tell you what, if you want that gunner spot, you got to outdo the specialist so-and-so when you get there. Out PT him, out train him, show that you want that job. And then he would go and tell the squad, hey, I met the new cat. He's coming up. He's coming for your job. So you better out train him and out PT him because he's a stud, you know. And they instilled on us that competition. Yep. You know, that's what they did. They put in us that competition. Now, I personally was able to grow off that. That was a motivator. And not only that, it motivated the team. And even though we were competing against each other, we're also still working together, you know. And I personally feel like that is something that slowly, or at least slowly kind of, they're going away from the competition, you know, that competition-based motivation, you know, and they're slowly just kind of like, okay, why did you lose? We'll figure it out. You know, why did you not get that? Okay, we'll figure it out. You know, when all in all, oh, it's because what's your PT score? What's your PT score? Okay, that's why you got the job. You know what I'm saying? But I'm going to ask you, you know, that's just my personal opinion. You know, I'm going to ask you though, one, what are your thoughts on the competitive nature right now in the military? You know, and two, what are your beliefs on how effective it is, or if it's not effective in your opinion, you know?
So I would say there's still competitiveness there. I think it's just dependent on how you're looking at it. I think the PT score thing is still a good thing, but then at the same time, looking at our PT, like we don't have like a legitimate PT program to meet that overall arching goal, right? So everyone has like this goal. Hey, I want to get the score, right? So people will shoot for it, right? I think what we are lacking is the instructional piece on like understanding like the goal that we're going after. So like, and this is like in everything. I think like all our school stuff, like NCOESs and stuff like that, are lacking instructional purpose behind it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So all you're getting is you're getting like educated by your peers rather than an actual education behind it.
Yeah.
And then the competitions, like anyone can get honor, what's it called? You know, the whatever the thing is, I can't remember anyway. But you get the highest score in the class, right? For just doing like, hey, I got a great essay.
You should be able to wear a PT badge too.
You'd be able to wear a PT badge. You'd be able to like be like awarded like good stuff. So the problem is we in general stopped awarding people for the right things.
Yeah.
We just started now, like in this age, like I've seen so many awards given for anything and everything.
Yes.
There's no meaning. There's no meaning behind it. So like people like me, like I'm already like having my years in. I'm like, an award, cool, awesome, but
you basically just did your job.
Yeah.
I'm the same way. We just gave you an award for doing your job. Like,
so I think in that at the end of the day, like competition, like if you want to compete, it's on us as senior leaders to bring that back into like the group that we have in front of us.
Yeah.
And how do we do that? How do we make it like that time, that cohesionness that you get from that? Because it's not just being in competition and being the best, but it's like, oh, I'm going through some stuff. You going through that same stuff with me.
Yeah.
But we're going at it, and we're like, we can see like the beast coming out of us. Like the 1,000-pound club or something like that, right? Or like doing like the best ruck or something like that. And like the things like that, like they want that, but then we're so focused on like missions and taskers. So like, when do we have like for us our work, we're so focused on those things. Like we never really get to see that unless we like put it out like way in advance, right?
Yeah.
So those soldiers don't really get an opportunity. And then you got to ask for permission for certain people. And so that becomes kind of like a barrier. But I think the competitiveness is only lacking because we do not provide that full effort of unit cohesion still, because people are so worried about missions and taskers that it becomes a kind of like that's a priority right now. And then for schools, like, and I go back to schools because I think like NCOs were missing, like our nowadays NCOs are already educated. Like they're coming in with bachelor degrees. They're coming in with associates. The soldiers are going to school, right? Some soldiers are still doing what we used to do, not going to school and then going after. But like there's already NCOs who have degrees already. So what is the actual like purpose of NCOIS? Like, are we actually teaching the things that we need to know at our level? Are we just going to a school to go on TDY and learn from each other from experience, which is not a bad thing, but then the students are expecting to learn something from a teacher, not to just have a facilitator.
That I totally agree. That's literally exactly. They need to even change that to now. It's just, to me, you're a facilitator. I don't know why they're calling you instructor or SGL.
So,
you're just a facilitator.
So, right. I went to a basic instructor course in 2018. It was 2018, 2017. And this is after like I hurt my back. So they're like, hey, you're going to go do this. Go teach at Foundry. I was like, okay, whatever. It doesn't matter to me. And then I'm like, okay. So I go to basic instructor course. Then they're like, hey, so they're changing the name. And now you're no longer teaching. You're facilitating a teaching aspect, but they're learning from the group. So I was like, well, this is sounding kind of like, I don't really know all that.
Yeah, how are they going to know?
And so it started in 2018, basically. And it is what it is now. Like, I mean, it probably started before that, but like, that's when I saw it. I was like, hey, 2018, I went to this, that, and that school. And then I'm like, am I really learning anything from the teacher that I would expect to learn from? Because that's how we were brought up, right? We learn from the teacher. What I'm learning from is from my peers. Not a bad thing at all, because some of my peers have great experience. Yeah. But then some of my other peers have the same experience. And I'm like, I'm not getting anything from you. Who I need to go to is this other person over here. So at SLC, when I went to SLC, it was virtual, right? COVID era.
Oh, geez.
COVID era, right? So I went to class, and little did I know, I spent like maybe 3 or 4 hours underneath the virtual thing. And then after that, it was me and my partners, whoever I had. And we learned from, so we did get like a PowerPoint class. We got to learn, right? From that, I basically we just kind of just talked, got the work done, and just bullshitted for the entire time, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which you would normally do at a school, right? You get to know the rest of the class. So from that, I learned like people who are in the CI side who are doing a totally different aspect than just
different mission
than what we're doing.
Yeah.
Like they're doing like what is it? Like they've been like with the civilian side the entire time.
Yeah.
I was like, that's crazy because I didn't know that. But then I was like, oh, I kind of know that, but kind of not. So it was like a learning process for me. Then I learned something from a signature who like had so much great knowledge on like the special side of the house, like all this, the cool guy stuff, basically.
Yeah.
And he like brought that into the table and I learned so much from him. And then you had other people who went different areas. And I was just a guy that like been an entire time. I went like 2 deployments, tactical side. And then I got to play around on the cool guy side for like maybe a year. And that was it. That's all I had for experience. So I was just like, all right, cool. But from that, like I learned so much from experience that I was like, all right, this is great. But like SLC was kind of a waste of time. What I got to learn was from my peers. Now that I could do that if you just pull like nowadays, what a Teams chat. Here's everybody who's gone through your MLS. You can do that and just go at it.
You can do that. Start a Facebook group. You know,
but
why are we having to come all the way over here for this? But yeah, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. Now it has changed, and there, I always call it there's a trickle down effect. So it will trickle down. You know, hopefully, you know, they're always obviously we get the emails. There's surveys coming out all the time. You know, and hopefully, you know, they're getting the right input from that and they're factoring it. You know, and as we know, it always changes too based on who's in charge. You know, every administration, you know, the echelons change. And the focus changes. So, well, I mean, we just adapt. That's all we do.
That's the only thing we can do.
We just adapt. That's, as a senior leader, you got to adapt. And you guys got to adapt too, so be adaptive. Remember that. So, yeah, competition, though. I feel like that is something that is definitely kind of lacking. It needs to be kind of instilled. And you are right. There are, as senior leaders, we can do at least our part from what we can't control, you know. And I got some stuff. I got some ideas in mind for when I take the seat. And
just bring it.
Yeah, because I feel like that is it used to benefit, and I see the result from the effect basically on a company or a battery, you know, or a troop. Like I've seen the result of that. You know, yeah, it's gonna be rough and easy in the beginning. You know, people are gonna have to adapt, but then they start to be like, okay, let's do this. Let's bring it, you know, this platoon against this platoon or this and this, you know, these senior leaders against this senior leader. And it's just like, hey, and it helps the juniors when they see the seniors pushing it and competing, you know, I was like, yeah, I remember when I was a junior and I'm like, you know, and then there was like, you know, in my squadron that we were at in the cavalry, we had there was like a first sergeant. We would have a squadron PT event, and then one of the events was like, hey, the first sergeants are going against the first sergeants, you know, the best first sergeant, you know, and they would go through this quick little circuit, you know, and then they come back and they tag their commander, and then the commander goes, and they're all competing, and you got the whole companies behind them like, let's go, top, let's go, you know, and it helps when they see that push, and they see the first sergeants out there pushing, you know, and then the platoon sergeant competition, okay, let's do this, you know, it motivates the troops. It really does, you know. And even if maybe the onesies or twosies are like, this is retarded, you know, why are we doing this, you know? But you're going to have those other ones that are like, dude, this is motivating, you know. I can't wait for when it's my turn when I'm taking that seat. I'm going to be the same way. I'm going to be like this first time, you know. I'm going to be out here pushing it.
That's why, like, most people enjoy, like, the spur rides and, like,
yeah, that's exactly it.
Stuff like that. Like,
those
are
events.
The things that, like, be like, hey, okay, we're going to do this thing and you're going to be smoked. But like, it's like, it is a mentality thing. It's like a something in your head that just tells you, hey, I'm going to be competitive and all I have is a beast to show. So I'm going to bring the best beast that I have inside of me for this competition. And those are the things we're missing, like currently right now, like in our AO for sure, like for our little workspace. And I think if we allowed that to happen, I would see like, you could see what you wanted, like as far as competition goes, because like these soldiers do go out and like they'll play softball, soccer, you know, the Fridays they're doing the team events, and like they have fun doing that. Like I like throwing, like when it came to HHD and me and HHD, right? So for the detachment and HHD, I would always just invite myself in there just to mess around with Utu, and just like, hey, we're gonna be there where you're at. And then he started doing the same thing for us. So like, and that's where it starts. Like, it's just how do we mess with each other just to see like what the crowd's gonna do. And I think that's the beginning part of it. Like the more we keep doing that, the more we keep involving with each other, like you'll start seeing the competitive come out, because you want that. You want to see people like, hey, let me drive, and I want to drive today.
They need to see that drive. Exactly.
And they will do it, like if they see you out there. And I think that's what they're missing. They're still missing in themselves. So like, and you see me like, yeah, I'm a physical dude, but I some days I'll put the excuse my language, but I'll put the plate carrier, I'll put the plate carrier on and just go running on the track, right? And every day, like I get like some soldier just tells me something, I'll be like, yeah, man, you can do it too. You're always invited, right? So I tell everyone, hey, even when I started like as a platoon sergeant, I was like, hey, you can always join the PT. I'm never gonna tell you to go away. You can join me on a workout session whenever you want. I'm not gonna tell you to go away. You decide that. Like when you say, hey, I'm good, this guy is crazy, or this is too much for me, that's fine. That's your way of saying, hey, I got enough, I'll try again next time. And that's totally fun. And I like that. Like that brings me like pride that like people who are trying to be at my level, and that's what I want. I want someone to come and beat me. I want someone to beat me. Exactly. I want to be tired to the T, where I like because kind of when I take my SAFTs, I'm already at the gym. And I want to do that in order to see where are my limits at. It's not about scoring the 600 or anything like that. It's kind of just seeing where am I at that current moment, right? If I go fresh, maybe I'll score at 600. That just depends on my mood, right? But when I go to work out and then take a CFT, I just feel like I'm challenged now. Like this is a challenge for me. I am trying to challenge myself to see where I'm at my most tired today. And then from there, I score. And I'm all right with that. Because at the end of the day, I tried to beat myself. And every time I go do that, like, that's what I like. And that's what I want to see from other people, to do the same thing. Like, hey, yeah, I'll go running with you. I'm not going to be able to keep up with you, but I'll try. And I'll be like, okay, great. That is totally fine. I'm running 3 miles out, 3 miles back. Or, you know, that might not happen that day, but I'm just saying, like, that's what I'm doing. And if they say, yeah, we're going to do this, I'll be like, okay, let's do this together. I will stay till you get done, and that's totally fine, because I enjoy that kind of work. That's the things. Like as a kid, I didn't get to be in teams because I didn't have time for that. I had to work. I had to do like things at home. So that's all I did. I didn't join teams. When I went outside, it's because I earned the right to go outside to go play, right? From doing my chores and doing like all the work that I need to do. After that, I was like, okay, let's go play. And I would enjoy all the playtime, right? That was my recess time. But then like, I never got to really join in sports or anything like that. I got to play sports, all the street stuff, anything I could get into. But in high school or middle school or public school, like I didn't have that time. Like I was trying to make sure that my family was good, that I was good. Like I ended up growing up really quick, I guess, at that time period. But like, that's where I grew up, that mentality of like, I got to be competitive when I'm out, because that's me. That's just me at that time. So I stood that same mentality, and I stick to it till now. The only thing, it made me understand like people afterward. And like what I need is I need a group around me in order to feel good. Sometimes I know I need my isolation periods, but like if we're going out to like get together and stuff like that, I need people around me, because that's fun. It's fun to like be around people. It's not just because of my job, but like it's just fun to like know new people, get to see how they act, get to see what they do.
I agree.
Play with teams and be out there and just enjoy the time together, because like that's how you build like great relationships. So at the end of the day, that's what I see. If I see it like that, then my kids will see the same thing at the end of the day. Man. And that's what I want to instill in my kids, that it is okay to not be good at something, but it's okay to understand why you do it. It's the biggest understanding behind it. And once you learn how to do the teamwork stuff and learn how to bounce off of each other, teamwork works like that. You could be the worst team ever, but once you all understand where you're all at and work on that weaknesses together, you start to get better, right? So, I mean, I can't explain that right now for NFL and NBA, but
yeah, no,
but
I know what you mean.
In general, like if we wanted to really like get better, we could look at each other like in a team right now. If we wanted to go as a squad to go do like some type of tactic or something like that, or be the best squad, right? We look at what strengths we bring in and what weaknesses, and we work off each other in order to strengthen that, in order to make something good. Because at the end of the day, you're competing against yourselves. There's no one else. Like that's the competitive mindset. The competitive mindset is you are your own competition. No one else is around. It doesn't matter if there's another person here for second, third, right? You're competing against yourself because you want to see where you're at, right? And so every day you lift a weight, right? And you're trying to lift heavier, or you're pushing yourself, right? So as long as you keep that same mindset that you're pushing better than you were yesterday, then you'll keep competing. Like you could be the slowest person yesterday, but you could be faster than you were yesterday today.
Absolutely.
And so I think like that's the thing that we're missing out. And it's kind of like we need a coach, a life coach sometimes, because I think that's where society is right now, and we're probably going back. But like, I think what we need is a life coach sometimes. The people need a life coach in order to get better because they don't believe in themselves. And when you don't believe in yourself, you psych yourself out.
Yeah.
And then when you psych yourself out, you don't make it to where you're trying to get to. So you have to be able to psych yourself out in a positive way in order to reach that. So how do I use my negatives to be more positive in order to make like a good effort forward?
Yeah.
So that's where I think like the competitive mindset takes in play. Like I think every day I wake up and I just say, hey, like in my mind, I'm like, okay, I got to get up, go to formation, go work out, and then deal with the day because I don't know what the day's bringing, right?
Yeah.
Am I ready for that? And so I'm like, probably not, but that's okay. You're going to be better than you were yesterday because yesterday you were angry about something. Today you want to look for some type of good thing.
It's a new day.
Yeah. And you just go after it, and that's it. And then you hope for the best and expect nothing less.
Yeah. No, absolutely true. Absolutely true. And you nailed it there too. Definitely that participation. I know from me and my experience just with my son, you know, I can tell him, hey, let's go ahead and do some push-ups, you know, or let's go work out, you know, let's go do some PT, you know, or let's go play basketball, you know, here's the ball, go ahead and go shoot. And he'll just be like, wait, what? You know, and I'm like, okay. Or the opposite is when he sees me out there, if he sees me with that basketball, I'm out there just dribbling, I'm shooting, I'm playing some games, or he sees me working out, he sees me doing that, then all of a sudden he's like, hey, I want to do that. Hey, I want to go next, Dad. Like, that's just from my experience. And so I've learned that when he sees me doing it, just the participation factor, if he sees me participating, then it rejuvenates a whole new desire for him to be like, hey, I want to do that. Nah. I want to get good at this sport now. Now I'm playing this sport. And then you open the doors for so many things now, you know, so that is definitely a big thing. So especially when it comes to our children, you know, and as a father and a parent, you know, and the same thing can be applied in the military. You know, your juniors, they're going to see you when they see you grinding, they see you pushing, they see you grinding at the ACFT, you know, in the fitness test, and they see you out there and they're getting high numbers. You know, I had Wilcox, you know, who we know. He came up to me. He said he didn't know really who I was that much. And then when he saw like he saw me take the ACFT, he saw my score. He was just like, "What's my excuse?" Like he literally told me that. He was like, he had to tell me. He's like, "Man, I have to tell you, like, seeing you and you're so much older and all this stuff, but you're out there just pushing and you're getting the score." And I'm just like, dude, I'm 10 years younger than this guy. What is my excuse? And I'm like, yeah, but I said, hey, that's the motivation I'm looking for. That's what I hope to do. Motivate you guys, you know, because it's not easy for me. Trust me. It's not easy. Everything hurts.
Oh, yeah, man. My back hurts on a daily when I wake up. like, or bro, like in the last 2 days, my neck,
stretch, you gotta prep.
like my neck's been hurting for the last 2 days. So like, I was like, what do I do? So like, I think of things to order like to loosen up again, right? So once I loosen up, I'm just like, all right, cool. But like, it was just like for training, like when we used to train so hard, like how do we recover from those things? Like,
yeah,
how do we give back that 100% that we're trying to give in the next day, right? So like, relaxation does work, like resting, sleeping, right? But then it's kind of like, okay, how do I get there? Because at the end of the day, everything comes from here and here, right? Together, working together, right? Because the rest of the body will do its thing regardless of how much pain it's in, which is interesting because like you can be in so much pain and through adrenaline, you could do so much.
All of a sudden that kicks in.
Yeah, and you could do so much. So like that's why I say like here is where it starts. So how do I like where do I find peace in here in order to make sure that everything else works together and in play for what is in front of me, right? So like for Wilcox, like I love the dude. The dude works hard, man.
Yeah, he does.
And he has a goal. Like
he does, and he'll chase it.
One of those amazing soldiers that you would love to have beside you. And those are the type of soldiers I want. I don't care like you're out of shape or like you're hurting on some stuff. If you allow me to make you better, then I'm with you. I will guide you all the way through. I'll give you everything you need to do. But that's just where I'm coming from as far as like trying to make sure that you match me in order to be better than me at the end of the day, right? Because I want to help soldiers. Like that's part of the reason why I stay in is like I wanted to help other people be better. Here. So like I want those people to be that type of mentality. Like when my kids see those things, and like when I was at Riley, right, and we were going through COVID, I would work out in the garage, right?
Yeah.
And I had my whole setup in there, right? And I had minimal stuff. Like I had like my weights.
You still made the best of what you got.
And I had like folding chairs to do dips. Like I did what I could, right? So my kids would see me in there, and it's hot. Like it's like super hot in the garage. So I got my shirt off. And you got this little like two-year-old, right? My junior, he comes in, takes off his shirt, starts taking cones, doing the same thing. He'll get down, do push-ups.
Proud daddy moment right there.
Yeah. So I was like, all right, awesome. He's getting in. And he would still like to this day, he'll come in the gym and he'll go to the garage because now we got a full like little setup that my wife made and everything. But he'll come in there. He'll find like the lightest way he can find. It doesn't matter because he can pick it up. And he'll be like, Daddy, look. And he'll lift this thing up as far as he can get it and be like so proud of it. And I'm like, yeah, man, that's how you do it. That's how you get it. And then he's like, all right, I'm going to show mommy. I was like, all right, cool. Don't get hurt, though. like anything can happen. But like stuff like that, like surprises me because it's a small things that grasp their attention.
It really does.
And that's what I want the soldiers to see as well, like the small things. It's not like the biggest. Because we as senior leaders try to shield them from all the other things, right? But like, I want them to see me, see us, see all of us. Like, we're of different shapes and sizes, right?
Yep.
Some of us are like super fucking physique. Some of us are not, and that's totally fine. But are we grinding?
Yeah.
Are we gritting right now? Are we meeting our grit today? Yeah. And that's all they need to see from us, that they're willing to do that, and like. If they see that, they're like, okay, I'll take the challenge with you. That's what I want. I want someone to be like, hey, I want to take that challenge with you today. And they don't have to say that. They could just jump into the workout and like, oh, okay, new body, right? But I want them to be like, okay, what is your drive forward? Like, show me your drive in order to show me your grit. Cause I'm grinding here the best I can on my own. But I'll bounce my energy off of yours and we'll grind together. Like, I don't care. But at the end of the day, like, let's meet your goal.
Yeah.
I've matched my goal. I mean, I got other goals, but right now, like for physical fitness, I've matched my goal. Let's match it together. And then what else can we do basically?
Yeah, exactly.
What else? Cause I would always want, like, I think like the things with us, like as we start getting complacent on things, we start looking like, hey, oh, I got this, right? But then it's like, okay, how do I challenge myself more? Like, what else can I do in order to like to put myself in the corner and be able to take those hits and then get myself out of that corner? And so like, yeah, I'm talking a little boxing because I love boxing, but like, I like to be in the corner and be able to be like, shit, like,
what are you going to do now?
What am I going to do now?
Exactly.
And then like, okay, what can I do? And then I'm blocking those like hits. I'm strategizing in my mind. Okay, this is what I can do. And then from there, I was just like, all right, let's put this in effect then.
Yeah.
Let's see what happens. Let's go with the flow and see what happens. And so like for me, like I'm not, you know me, I'm not a planner. I hate planning, but in my mind, I've already strategized like things and planned things already in my mind. Right. But I like to go off the whim and just let's see what happens if I do this. Right. And see where it goes from there. But I am strategizing. This is the thing, like you are strategizing and planning already in your head. You just don't have it on paper like most people. Like they'll build a draft and whatever, right? We like to go off the whim because it feels more solid, more real, more raw, right? Because that's the things we do. So like I like doing that because it puts me in the corner and it makes me learn a little bit more. Because if I don't do that, I don't feel like myself, first of all. But like if I like, I feel like I'm fake though. Like if I draft off a script, I'm like, this ain't me, homie. What are you doing?
Yeah, what are you doing, dude?
And so I need that, like, okay, let's do this off the whim. Let's go live and see what happens. Like if you fail, cool, whatever. Try again next time. But like it's not like it's the end of the world.
Just don't quit.
Yeah. It's not the end of the world.
Exactly.
So I think that's the fun part about being a senior leader. It's like,
ooh, that's a good segue into my next little topic of discussion, guys. Yeah, he kind of set me up. But guys, let me know. Seriously, if you guys, hey, the spirit of competition, I'm serious to know what your guys' thoughts are on that. You know, and if you guys actively engage that now in your lives, you know, whether as a parent, in the workforce, you know, in your relationships or whatever, you know, that spirit of competition, I'm curious to know your guys' thoughts on that. So feel free to chime in on the chat. And like I said before, if you guys have any questions for us or my guest host, by all means, come up in the chat, guys. Let us know. I see you guys are watching. I appreciate you all. Thank you all for being present tonight. But feel free to interact, guys. Feel free to engage. That's what we're here for. But so that takes me into the next segue, man. And as a senior leader, I always, every time I've had previous senior leaders in here as well. And I always like to ask them this, you know, and because it is an issue, you know, in our society as a whole, you know, but also in the military. How do you engage that soldier, you know, that service member who has that quitting behavior, you know, is literally, okay, you're engaging them, but you can just tell they just quit. Like, you know their potential, you know their capability, but yet they're just choosing to quit. How do you engage that as a senior leader from your side of the house?
That is tough. That's a tough one, man. I tell you, every day it's a challenge. Because I have those soldiers, right? So I think it's just a tough challenge. You have to be like very delicate with it, and you have to make it work to the best way of an advantage of them noticing that they're still worth something. Because like every soldier, once they fail at something and they go through like some type of UCMJ action or something like that, they're just like, okay, I'm done. Right?
They just check out.
They check out completely. So it's hard because they've gone through punishment. They don't want to do anything, but like you still want them to work because they still have time, right? So I think at the end of the day, it's just kind of giving them that little, like the little things that you would normally do, because everyone needs some type of affirmation behind certain things, right?
Yeah.
It's just how do you put that in play for that particular person? Because every personality is different. So I think you have to decide what type of affirmation you're trying to put on the soldier. And then give them a tasking. And it could be something small, something very like minuscule, like nothing that's going to be like great, but like you're proud of what they did because it made a change, right? As you start doing that, you earn their trust, and it's a rebuild of trust that you're trying to get. That trust has a respect behind it. So like, how do you show the soldier to be able to respect you and be able to respect the Army? Because that's what they're doing. They're trying to respect the Army back again because they lost their trust in the Army system completely after what happened to them. So you're slowly trying to work that thing into there. And I say it's tough because every person's different, but like you put little things in front of them and you say, hey, here's what I want you to do, and allow them to do those things freely. No, like nothing too crazy, right? But you give them kind of like, here's the instructions on what you need to do. Once you do this, let me know. We'll go from there, right? And you start with small little taskings. After that, you slowly start increasing their work little by little, right? And then you see like their outcome, and then you praise their outcomes. You give them the praises, like whether it's behind closed doors or whether it's in front of a crowd. Like at the end of the day, that's all that people need is just how to get recognized again, right? And once they get recognized again, you're hoping, because at the end, and I hate the word hope because like it doesn't reach any
not really a plan.
Yeah. But you're hoping that everything you're doing is helping the soldier out, and it's helping the soldier recognize that I have trust in you still. And I need you to know that. Allow yourself to trust me that I will guide you right back where you used to be, and I'll get you there. But we have to work on this. And what I always tell people, it's a 50-50 road. I can only help you halfway through it. You have to help yourself as well. And we need to match at the end of the day.
Yeah.
So in order to get there, we got to be able to reach it. And sometimes like, it's not like me personally being able to get the soldier. It's a supervisor that I put in order to take care of that soldier. Because the supervisor, like other leaders, help that situation. If you think about the leaders that are in front of you and you've actually observed how they work or how they do things and everything that they're doing and how they like interact with soldiers, you start picking and choosing where that soldier needs to be at and what team, right? From there is where you actually get the full effort, because all you're doing at your channel, you're planning. You see your end goal. This is how I get this soldier back into game, right? But you're trying to set it all up. And as you're setting it, you're trying to realize, okay, how do I get there? And those steps, all those steps will start interacting once you put the right leaders into play. And once you have the right leader into play, it's no longer chaos. It's kind of like they're taking this clay and they're remolding it, and now they have that pottery. Yeah. And now that pottery is looking great. It's looking better than it was before, because before it started as clay. It was a pottery. It was a pot. It got dismantled completely, right? Yeah. They remade it now, but and now these leaders are remaking it, and now they made a full-on pot with designs and everything. Yeah. Now you have something, and you made that soldier feel like they're worth something. And once you make that soldier feel worth something, I think that's where the next step takes in play. Yeah, that's when that soldier starts to be like, oh shit, now I'm definitely doing something great.
No, I fully agree. And that is something that, I mean, I wouldn't say it's more of a plague on our society as a whole, not even just a military thing. It's just a plague on society as a whole. And right now the quitting aspect is like, okay, hey, you don't like it? Okay, quit. Yeah, don't settle. Go for what you want. Yeah, okay. When all in reality, it's like, hey, man, if you failed, apply yourself. I mean, still keep that focal point, but you can own your mistakes, own your failures, learn from them, and continue on. Like, continue on, continue mission, and you will accomplish it, you know? But you got to have a goal. Like, you got to have a focal point. Like, you got to have a plan. And if you don't have a plan, then what are you doing? You know, what is your plan? You know, what is your end state? And from a soldier aspect, I'm going to, you know, hey, do you want to get out? Like, what is it? And do you want to be here? Do you want a job? What is it? Because until you give me that focal point, then I'm not going to know how to approach that. Like, we will guide you. We will do this, but there's only so much I can do. It's on you now. Mm-hmm. You know, you're the human, you know, and you and I both know, you know, just given current, past, recent circumstances, you know, it's tough because sometimes they'll tell us or give us an answer, and in reality, that's not the truth. Yeah. You know, and there's only so much you can do, you know, but I see that as a form of just quitting. Yeah. Thank you, Grizzly. I appreciate that. Praise the Lord for you boys. I appreciate that, Grizzly, man. Thanks for that interaction, dude. I appreciate you, homie. Thanks for being here. But yeah, no, it really is. And there's when you can control that mindset. Mm-hmm. And I used to, from taking over the previous platoon that I took over, there were a lot of individuals that people just kind of wrote off, and it was like, hey, no, what is your plan? What do you want to do? Then let's get you there, but understand it's going to be on you though. I can only do so much for you, but it's going to be on you.
Nah.
Own your mistakes, own your failures, own your successes, own your achievements, be proud of them, but have a plan and focus on that plan. What is the end state? What are you trying to do? And that is something I know that is my approach on that, because it's tough right now. And you and I both know it is tough. There are, it's a different generation. We're in a society right now where, it's quitting is accepted. I want to say, it's accepted. Hey, you don't like it? Okay. Don't settle, move on, okay. And next thing you know, what did you lose? Time. Mm-hmm. You lost time that you're never going to get back. Just put in the work, refine it. Like you said, the pot. Hey, if that pot's not the way you do, okay, hey, let's reset, crush it up, add some water. Let's build it back up again. Apply yourself. Let's get to that pot that you want. And that is something that I see, and I always like to ask the question too. Every time I have senior leaders here, that is one of the questions I always ask, is how do you deal with the quitting aspect, in the ranks, because it can be toxic too. Mm-hmm. And I know, complacency can be toxic. There's a saying, complacency kills. When you're in theater, yeah, complacency kills.
It does.
And that is, being complacent is not something that you want to encourage, and it's just tough. It is a tough time, but not impossible.
No.
It's not impossible, But hey, I thank you guys. Thank you guys for coming in and chiming in here. I appreciate you, Grizzly. I see you over there. Okay, we got some interaction here. Grizzly, thank you for that. We got some interaction here over on the YouTube side. Let's see what we got here. Oh, I see. Okay, so you're throwing in some UFC stuff. Okay, I see that. I appreciate that, man. Hope all is well. I see you, Grizzly. Hey, all is well, man. Thank you for being here, dude. Yeah, man. No, that's actually true. Now, though, this we'll close out with this one, but I want to say one thing I applaud you for, and I acknowledge a lot, especially of the senior leaders, is you balance the word balance, because it is tough, and I know this from experience, let me tell you, but it is tough to balance that the workload and then the family life, and being an endowed, father and a husband. I know you're actively, in Boy Scouts and all this stuff, and there's the word balance comes to mind, and we know it is tough. It is tough, especially in the military. But how is that something that you've engaged on? How important is that household six relationship and so forth, going forward?
Well, so for that one, I don't think I'm balanced. Like, I'm glad you guys see that, but as far as it goes, nothing's balanced. I don't think for me personally, and this is me thinking about it, I don't think work-life balance is a thing. I think it's hard to meet that because you either give up on something, right? You either give more time to work or you give more time to the family. I think at the end of the day, you're just trying to balance what you can as best as you can. And like, I don't spend enough time like during the weekdays with my kids, because by the time I get home, I only get like an hour, right? So I get what I can, and then I'm like falling asleep in uniform pretty much in the bed or on the couch, right? So like it's funny, but like and you hit it on the nail right there with the wife. Like as far as like household six goes, like if it wasn't for that household six like at home, like it is rough, man. I tell you, like
dude, I know, man.
That's where I air out like some stuff, and I'm like, I know I can trust that person that's beside me to be like, we're both having like good days and bad days, right? So we share as much as we can, like for the little time that we can, right? We try to share that. And I think that's where the communication is a piece in there.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's where it works the best. Because without that, you're holding in all that stuff inside. So like if you continue to hold that, it can explode. And so like on a daily basis, I think like there's probably like a million things that probably happen in a day that I forget about. Like I promised that I was going to go out to go help somebody with equipment, or, hey, I was going to go check on this. And I'm like, that's not balance, man. That's just me. Like, I thought this thing was more important.
Just being a human.
And I have to like, yeah.
Yeah.
So I have errors no matter what. But I think like at the end of the day, like as long as I have my priorities for that time period straight, I think that's where it comes through. Like, what are my priorities for that day? Like, what are my priorities for Saturday and Sunday? I think as far as Saturday go, I'm doing whatever comes to the family. Like I'm not focused on work stuff or anything like that. I don't care. Like that thing could go on. Now, if something as far as an emergency comes, I will answer that. But like as far as like work, if it can be done on Monday, let it be done on Monday. Yeah. Right. And then on Sunday, I'm like, all right, let's get up. Let's go to church. Like that's a priority for me, right?
Yeah.
That's a priority for the family. As the kids start seeing that, then they start balancing that. The wife starts balancing that. Because my wife's the one that keeps me in check for those things. So I'm like, I rely on her for that. But then I have to also give her a break and be order for her to rely on me on things. So like, I'm not perfect with it, but I think like to a certain extent, like we share like when we're doing something wrong, and we share when we're doing something right. Mm-hmm. And like, sometimes I may not have like the kid car seats, and then she'll get mad about it, right? Which is fair, because I'm like, I don't want to put all that stuff in the car, right? In the truck anyway. But I'm like, or maybe I should have that. So then I start having a conversation with myself. Anyway, by this time of age, you're probably having a conversation with yourself. So you're trying to figure out certain things. Yeah. But I'm like, maybe I should do that now often. So like for a time period, I keep like one car seat, thinking that, hey, she's going to call me. I'm going to have to go pick up the kid, right? And that time period did come, right? A couple times. But then, like, it didn't. So I was like, all right, I'm all clear. Take all this stuff out. And then I never put it back in. And then she'll remind me again, like, you didn't do this or that. And I'm like, dang, I'm doing bad. So how do I fix that? Yeah. So every day it's kind of like figuring out what is it that I messed up on, or, like, I'm not matching on her vibe or something like that. And we match all the time as best as possible. But, like, without that happening, like if I didn't have errors, I think it would be very bland. Yeah. It wouldn't be a good relationship. And that helps me be focused on work as well, because it allows me to be the same way at work. Like a relationship is very important at work as it is at home, because the person you're sharing that same management piece is the same, kind of like the same thing in the household. You're working in that household, right? So I think without that, like, I wouldn't be able to like really balance myself at work as best as possible. I think having that person next to me understand how I think and what I can do, what I can provide, is the most important piece. Mm-hmm. Like as much as I may fail at things, they know what I can provide and bring forward. And so they always look at that rather than me not putting a car seat in the truck or something like that. At the end of the day, I'm still there for the kids. I'm still there for my wife. Yeah, I go randomly pick out flowers for a bouquet at a random time period, so that way she doesn't get used to it. Yeah, no. And then I do that, right? And the same thing goes with the company. We try to like give them time off, allow the company kind of reset away from like the normalcy of normal soldiering stuff. So we allow that to happen because we have an agreement. If I have the same agreement at a house, I'm going to have that same similarity at home. I'm not any different at work than I am at home. I'm like, I have jokes. Yeah. I do mistakes. I do right as best as I can. And I do it to the best of my ability, because I'm not perfect. I'm never going to be right on everything. If I get proven wrong, I take it for what it is. At home, I'm proven right 100%. Don't believe anything that my wife says. But at the end of the day, like there are things that I learned from my wife personally that have made me better as a husband and as a father. And I take that same learning process and I apply it at work. And I say that because I try to bring a father figure at work as well, so that people don't see me as like, oh, he's just first time, he's a mean dude. If you just look at him, he's gonna kill you, right?
Yeah.
More like, no, I want you to come up to me, tell me problems so I can help you and understand you. So it's the same way at home. Like I make sure that the kids, if they tell me something, I'm like, that's a great kid. That's awesome. You know, you're doing right. Or like be excited with them. And like, and if you're not showing that with the same parents, they won't see that. But then kids will take advantage of parents as best as possible when they're like separated, right? But I think like when they see those things, they make themselves better as well.
No, that's absolutely true.
So without my wife, I feel like it'd be rough, because me being a solo, like I feel bad for solo parents. Like, like it's not easy. It's not easy. Yeah. And so like when I hear things, I'm like, damn, like that really sucks. Like I was there for a year. I know that sucks. Like I know like it's hard to talk to like your child somewhere else. And like still to this day, like my daughter now just like moved like I don't know, like last year to California from Washington State.
Oh yeah.
And she's with her mom, and I'm like, okay, like I'm like, she's in a new place, and I'm like getting all this stuff. So like it's important for us to kind of like talk to each other and kind of get, like, if I don't put a full effort, then I'm not doing my due diligence. Yeah. And like as a father, right? And then if I don't talk to my wife, I'm not doing what I need to do as a husband, as far as like comforting and doing what I got to do. Because at the end of the day, I like to be romantic about certain things. So like I'll come in before I leave to work, I give her a kiss. When I come in, I give her a kiss.
It's the like, little things.
It's the little things that matter the most. And I think the same thing applies at work. So like, I think being me, like throughout my years, like I've learned to take what it is at home and also apply it at work, and the same thing back. So as long as I like people see me the same way, like I can't really like be any worse. I mean, I could, but like I try my best to be better than I was every day. Like it's just, I think it's just tough. Like without that, going back to that communication piece, like if you don't have that communication, it's going to be rough. You got to be able to like say, hey, that shit sucks. We're both going through the same thing, or like feel the same vibe. Like you got to allow yourself to feel the same vibe. Or like, hey, this is how I see it, blah, blah, blah. But you got to be able to transition as best as possible. And then that person has to be able to give you something back. Or just listen in general.
Just be an ear.
Be an ear, yeah.
Yeah.
And so that helps out at the end of the day. That's why I say like, am I balanced? To a certain extent. But if it wasn't for household six, like I would not be 100%. Like I'd be going, like to this day, like I have yet to go to MFLAC Behavioral Health, but like I should go. Yeah. And I keep denying myself to go because I think I'm good, but that's me thinking that.
That's you thinking that, yeah.
Whereas I go downstairs and I'll talk to MFLAC, but not about a particular thing that's bothering my head. Like I'll just talk about random things. That helps me though. Like at the end of the day, I feel like that relieves my cup. Like my cup is filled. I'm letting some stress out, so it's going down, right? So I think that helps out. It's the same thing with the wife. Like my cup is overfilled, so I'm going to lay out my cup in front of her, and she starts to help me like bring it down to a minimum, so that way like I can be able to reset. Yeah. Be able to handle the next day. And I try to do that at home to my best ability for her. But then I don't know what civilian's life is like anymore. So like for me to apply that, I'm like, I get where you're coming from, but like, like sometimes I get thrown off and I'm like a little confused, but then I'm like, I kind of get it if I apply this way, because I'm so indoctrinated by the Army. Yeah. And it's a blessing and a curse. I will say, as a man, it's a blessing and a curse. It is one of those things. Because I know it from the other side, and it is not easy. It is not easy, especially now, and it's not getting any easier.
But I always applaud those senior leaders and it's just in the military as a whole, because it is tough. It is tough to sustain and maintain the family life as well, because balance can be tough. You know, there's so much expected of you, especially the higher ranking you make it. You know, the more elevated you make it in the echelon, there's your duties and responsibilities increase. You know. And you need that, you know, they say we're the backbone of the Army, but, you know, those our spouses, you know, those who are in a relationship are the backbone for the backbone, you know, because it is tough, man. And just, you know, there are those who make it happen, you know, on their own, but it's not easy, you know, and it is tough. So I always applaud, and I like to make sure I recognize, and I always like to ask too, just get a little insight, you know, what do you do to make it work, you know? And like you said, little things like, you know, just giving a little kiss on the cheek, being a little romantic every now and then. Hey, that obviously that pays dividends, you know? So I applaud you for that. Definitely. But I appreciate that, man. I thank you for coming in today. You know, I think that's a good little segue to wrap up here. Let's chime in here. We got some activity here, and people are blowing up the chat here. Hey, Grizzly, I thank you for that. Hey, number 5 gaming. Hey, Tal Rivera, he looked like he hasn't seen a gym in days. Oh, man.
That's
man.
crazy. I appreciate it, though. I'll try.
Yeah, he'll do his best. By the way, number 5, hey, happy birthday, man. Big shout out to you, dude. Hope all is well. Thanks for being here. Yeah, you're finally 19. Happy 19th birthday, man. But yeah, man, hey, I want to thank you for coming in, man. I appreciate that. Hey, cheers, brother. Cheers as we close this out, guys. Hey, if you guys got any questions or any input for everything we discussed today, you know, or you got questions for my guest host, type it up now before we wrap up, and feel free to send it, come up on the net. As we close things out, guys, yes. Tell him who I am. Okay, so number 5 there in the chat, that is actually Bonilla.
I bet he is.
Yeah. That's Bonilla over there saying what's up, man. I hope all is well, dude. When he's not talking about a warfare in life. Hey, best haunted story personally headed on or heard on base. I don't know. Have you heard any haunted stories on base?
I could tell you a realistic story that was haunted, but let's see, not an actual like haunt, like
number five types. Hey, Rivera, how come you leave him on red?
On you?
Damn, you leaving him on red status, dude?
No, I don't. On what?
What, dude? You might be texting the wrong number.
You might be.
Hey, haunted stories will be the next episode, dude, on Thursday, because I got some haunted stories to share. I just recently did an amazing ghost tour here in San Antonio, guys, and let me tell you, I learned a lot of crazy stuff and got to explore some cool buildings with my son, and I got some stories to share. So we'll save that for the next episode because we're getting to wrap up. Hey, you got to remember, we got a first sergeant here. He's got to get home and get rest. He's got a place to be early in the morning.
Oh, that's fine.
Oh, you're subscribed. Hey, 5 says he's subscribed to your OnlyFans. He left him on red.
Oh, well, good luck with that one because I don't have that.
Guys, I appreciate y'all for coming in here today. We're going to go ahead and wrap things up, man. But on Thursday, hey, I'll make sure to open up with some haunted stories for you guys. Definitely. Hey, you'll be here on the 27th. Hey, well, holla at a brother. Yes, on Thursdays, man. Haunted stories coming in. But hey, guys, I want to thank you guys. We got to wrap up, man. We got, first on duties. They start early.
Yeah, we both do.
They start early, guys. They start early. I appreciate you guys for coming in here. Grizzly 5, thank you guys for coming in participation. Beowulf, thank you for that. Hey, MMA Cruz, big shout out to you coming in on the YouTube side. Thank you so much, guys. All right, so hey, we're going to go ahead and wrap things up. Guys, I will see you all on Thursday. All right. I have to remember the camera moved over here. I will see you guys all on Thursday. All right. And yes, I am going to go over some haunted stories. All right. I got some stuff I want to share with you guys, and then we'll get right into some topics of the day. All right. So, hey, thank you guys all for being present. I appreciate you guys all for being here. You already know, hey, if you haven't already hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. If you're new to the team, guys, hit that subscribe button. Just punch it really hard. And I'll see you guys on the next episode. Every Tuesday, every Thursday, 8:30 Central Standard Time, team. And we're going to get ready to rock and roll and get out of here, guys. So thank you all so much for being here. Big shout out to my special guest host for coming in here today, sharing some input, sharing some advice, and just the way of life and how he embraces comfort in his chaos, guys. So, hey, thank you all for tuning in, team. From my world to yours, as you guys already know, we always end up saying, hey, do your push-ups, take your vitamins, drink your water, and most importantly, guys, continue the mission of life. Focus on being a better version of yourself every day in every way. Don't hesitate to create an opportunity and create a memory, guys. All right, I'll see you on the next one, team. Out.